Who is the most unfunny comedian in your opinion? Kenny Benaya. Other than his gig on Risk Management, he is completely insufferable. Brendan Schaub. James Corden. Carlos Mencia. James Corden. Andy Dick. Piece of actual shit. Ellen. Schaub all day. Brendan Schaub. David Walliams. More like slimy creep than comedian. Mario Barth *. He's always the right answer for this exact question in Germany. Almost any aspiring comedian on America's Got Talent. I never understood the allure of Rosie O'Donnell. I hate to say it, because I relate to some of his qualities as a person. But Pete Davidson is not funny. If your entire first 3 specials are about how much of a pothead you are, that's not even comedy. It's just sad. Brendan Schaub. Honestly, Dane Cook was funny when I was 12, but his stuff not that great. Does Jimmy Fallon count? I have an irrational hate for his style. Stalin. I'm gonna go with Stalin. Very dry, brutalist humor. Jeff Dunham. Was never funny, and for some reason every old person thought he was the greatest thing in the world. Amy Schumer. Does anything more even need to be said? Russell Peters. He used to be funny when I first discovered him 10 years ago. But now I find him just terrible. Jimmy Fallon is awful. If we're talking about people that made millions for being not funny. At Opie Radio. Dude is a cancer on comedy. I'm not a huge fan of Larry the Cable Guy. I mean, I thought Mater was funny, but besides that, saying Dennis Miller is like less than obscure name greater than doing a reverse handstand on the back of a Fiat while high on Thorazine. Huh? Where do we draw the line? Obviously, the answer is some guy at open mic night in Topeka or some shit. And all of the answers here are valid among working comedians. But if we qualify the question with the most unfunny comedian who has booked legitimate venues, I'm gonna have to go with Steve-O. I love Jackass. I love Steve-O. But Jesus Christ, that was the hardest watch I've ever had. He's a hilarious dude on Jackass. And he seems like a genuinely awesome dude. But when he does stand up, he turns into something completely unfunny. It's bizarre, too. You can see him trying. He speaks slowly, emphasizing the most obvious quips. It's so bad. And what makes it worse is that I want so badly for it to be good. But it's not. It's awful. And he doesn't even really tell jokes. He tells stories. But they go nowhere. Chelsea Handler. Maybe I caught the wrong one or something. But I tried to watch one of her stand-up specials and it was one of the most boring, flat, unfunny things I've ever seen. James Corden. OP from O&A. The luckiest man in radio history. Dude sucks. Kevin Hart. Kathy Griffin. She's just cringe at this point. I hate to say it, but Rosie Jones. I feel terrible because she's disabled, but her delivery ruins and punchline for me, I'm afraid. Pete Davidson. Christopher Titus. Never understood the appeal. Not only is he not funny, but back when I saw him, his then fiancée was his opener and she was awful. Rob Schneider. Saw him live for a New Year's Eve special. Snide. Condescending. And not funny. People walked out at all different points during the show. We toughened it out for the free champagne at midnight. Amy Schumer. Saw her live in Chicago while she was very pregnant. During the taping of her Netflix show. It was not announced during ticket sales that they would be taping a show. It was awful. Would deliver one line or joke. Have to stop. Have her makeup touched up. She would flub a delivery and she would redo the joke, and the audience was told we had to laugh harder, clap more. Shit you not, the staff told us at the end of the show to stay seated. Turns out we didn't clap enough or give her a standing O. So they asked us to do it over. People just walked out. I was so pissed over this one. Such a waste of ticket money. George Lopez. I never thought Carrot Top or Gallagher, RIP, were that funny. Have seen dozens of the top comedians live in Vegas, and the biggest bomb had to be Amy Schumer. How has no one said Chris D'Elia yet? Joe Rogan. Can't believe he thinks he is a comedian. Michael Yo. Watched his stand-up leading up to seeing him live and wasn't into it. Seems like he picked low-hanging fruit and likes racial humor. Saw him live about a week later and it was all of that, plus he liked to bully crowd members and double down on racial stereotypes. Anything can be funny, and I'm not saying there's nothing to racial humor. But this was borderline just racist, and he really liked to talk about how great he was and then jump to a crowd member and talk them down. Then expressly talked about how he was going to be outside in case anyone wanted pictures with his masterpiece of a physique. All of the people in my party, though he was a total jerk by the end of the set. I go to this comedy club a lot and he's the only person I've ever seen act like this.